seated.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt with Shannon Salmon-Haas, attorney, immigration attorney, and mom and wife and Instagram influencer.
Much respect for the way you roll your R's.
We're here with Debbie Pearson, founder of Care4. Why don't you explain those parts of Care4? Where's the company located? What's the population that you serve?
Care4 is in Austin and San Antonio, and we serve adults, anyone 18 or older. Some people think of us as just elderly, but we have a pretty large population of young people with chronic illnesses, mental illnesses. So anyone who's 18 and older. And sometimes what we do is have people call us that don't even know why they're calling us. A lot of the referrals that come in, it's like, well, this attorney or this trust officer or my next door neighbor said, I don't know what to do, but just call Care4. They'll figure it out. So even if it's something that we cannot personally take care of, we will make sure if you call us with the problem where a patient needs some kind of help or family support, family needs direction, call us and we will either help you out or we will direct you anywhere in the United States. We have a large network of care management companies so that we can direct you anywhere. Because sometimes people are just lost. They don't know what to do.
Right. I talk to some of those people. We have some of the same friends.
Well, we're educated for parenting and for our professions and all. We are not educated for the aging years and how to support people.
Right.
So you might as well take advantage of the lessons we've learned, and we will download them to you and help you out the best we can.
Definitely.
Great stuff.
Okay, well, this is the fourth segment of the show. We like to talk about legacy because Marquardt Law Firm sponsors the show, and we focus on last wills, living trusts, and tax-protected inheritance plans.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy?
That's the imaginary
Sponsored by
gavel.
Marquardt Law Firm.
That's part of our
He was chopping
pre-programming.
onions right there. He's hungry.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you about your legacy. It means different things to different people. For some people, it's what did they receive as an inheritance? For other people, it's what are the lessons I learned from those who came before me? When you think about your legacy, what comes to mind?
It's kind of two things that are similar to the same thing, and one is family. I grew up with a mother back in the olden days, where mothers stayed home and took care of their kids. So it was all about keeping family close and loving your kids, supporting your kids, and keeping family together. So strong family. We have children, we have grandchildren, we have great-grandchildren, and we are still constantly together and in touch. And most of them live right around the area. So family. And then the second thing is I've been blessed to be able to have a career that aligns with my values that my father gave me, which is kindness and absolutely no judgment. And it's very nice to be able to come into a situation, especially the situations that we see, and it doesn't matter what the person has done or not done to help their life or hurt their life. That's their life. And just to walk into it through a career and be able to put the patient first, always first, and not judge them in any way, but help them. So those are the two legacies, are family and then a work that feeds your heart and aligns with your values.
That's awesome. That's a real blessing. Some
Beautiful.
people hate their job, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, very beautiful. That must be so healing for people when I can just hear in your voice how you would convey that non-judgment. It must be very,
It's-
healing for people.
It's the whole thread through the company.
Right.
It's all of us.
Also, from the minute you first started talking, like when we very first started, with the very first segment, I just have running through my head the trust people must have. You're really holding their whole lives practically in the trust you must establish with people, and sounds like you've earned it
Well, I
because
like you saying you must establish it because it's not a given.
right,
You
right.
have to earn it.
But I kind of hear in your voice how you do it. I've known you 5 minutes and you just have such a pleasant demeanor and your spirit really
Thank you.
shines through.
Thank you. Those were gifts from parents.
Mm-hmm. And do you teach that to all your caregivers?
Most of them do not need to be taught.
Okay.
The ones that need to be taught, we can work with them and mentor them, and if they can't get it, they're not a good fit for our company.
Right, right.
I once had somebody come to a business conference from Chick-fil-A to talk about customer service. And somebody asked him, how do you get the employees to smile? And he said, we only hire people that smile.
Wow, yeah.
And that's like what you were saying. You hire people who already care.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So you don't have to teach somebody how to care.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, but people can be taught. They really can, and part of it is how you treat them.
Mm-hmm.
If you treat them, know them, respect them, care about them, then it typically comes back. I mean, kindness is met with kindness. So that's the legacy.
Oh, what
I
a
love your
beaut. I
outlook.
love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Awesome. Well, there's one more issue that I forgot to mention, and that's adult child or family member that comes home to find out or suspect that their loved one has been taken advantage of. How should they proceed?
More swiftly than with a lot of other things. Of course, they need to do their research and make sure that it really has happened, but very, very often, probably 80% of the time, the exploitation is by a family member, not a stranger. So you have to get the lay of the land, how that happened, and oftentimes they may know it. They have always taken care of Sally, and Sally always needed care, so they will continue to take care of Sally even if they have no money left, because that's their habit and they're going to repeat it. So it's more of looking at the whole family dynamic and can you get the support, and sometimes legal action needs to be taken. But,
I would imagine so, yeah. Wow.
but it's sensitive and you need to get your documentation. But very often if they have given money to a family member, or even if the family member has stolen it, they'll figure they needed it. That's why they took it. And that's the hard part of exploitation, because it's family.
There's laws now. This is where I talk about the law that require family members, people in the community like caregivers, attorneys, to contact Adult Protective Services if they suspect that there's financial exploitation. And there's protection for the anonymous reporting if there's some kind of mistake. So I would say err on the side of reporting it, because Adult Protective Services is there to investigate I don't need to be an investigator. Maybe that's not what my strong suit is. But if you're a caregiver or a family member or a neighbor or a friend, and you think somebody's really taking advantage of somebody, then I think that you have to file a report.
And you have to, when you call APS, you have to let them know this is specific to exploitation, because that's a completely separate department for APS. It's not a general call.
Okay. Good to know. So we've been talking a lot about the holidays and older people, and you mentioned that your company helps others who are over the age of 18 that might not be older. How can we help somebody who is maybe just suffering some kind of disability with broken bones, or how do we incorporate people who are trying to live with a disability? How do we incorporate them in our holiday plans?
Knowing what they need in support, because, if it's someone who typically it's more of a spinal cord injury or head injury where someone is paralyzed, and, understanding what their needs are to be involved in holiday. They may have to stay in their own home and have people come to them.
Okay.
Rather than going out, but knowing more about them. And it's just key to any family member or loved one that we have that has a chronic disability, is really knowing what it is that they can and can't do, and not just assuming, Johnny's in a wheelchair, but he can go out.
Right.
When he's out for a period of time, what does he need for?
That's what I think that people should ask, is not only do you have food allergies that I need to know about, but are you going to be bringing somebody who needs accommodations? Mm-hmm. If I have stairs, am I going to be able to accommodate that?
Yeah.
Well, I think that we're coming to the close of the show, but I wanted to give you the last word, something to give people hope or advice if they're the caregiver. Because we not only need to pay attention to the person who needs care, but maybe also to the caregiver.
Yeah. The caregiver holds all the knowledge. The caregiver has all the answers. And if all of us as a society actually look to the caregiver for that magic touch, then that caregiver needs the support that everyone can give them, and not to come in at the holiday time and tell the caregiver everything that needs to be done differently. Yeah. That caregiver knows all of it, and they just deserve all the respect in the world.
Amen.
Yeah, respect.
Thank you for saying that. Well, we have to end the show. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Very much.
Shannon, thank you. Margaret, thank you. Talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.